At the height of its power, the Roman Empire was vast, stretching from the deserts of Africa to the borders of northern England. Over 1/4 of the world's population lived and died under the rule of the Caesars. In the winter of 180 AD, Emperor Marcus Aurelius' 12-year campaign against the barbarian tribes in Germania was drawing to an end. Just one final stronghold stands in the way of Roman victory and the promise of peace throughout the empire. Okay, that's it.
Oh, that was it.
That's it.
Okay.
You read that like
So you actually read that
Very
at a
quickly.
normal pace. Okay, well, welcome back to Cinema Rats. That was Allie opening with
hello.
with the opening, because we have a double feature for you today, Gladiator and Gladiator 2. I'm Morgan,
I'm Allie.
I'm Jesse.
and we are super excited about Gladiator. Both of them, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
What?
Jesse's sitting here with her little Irish t-shirt
Yeah,
on.
she actually-
Representing the land of Ireland and Balmeskel.
With our, 1% Irish blood.
We have more than 1%, right?
Yeah.
Well, anyway. So, we're going to talk about Gladiator from 2000 and the new one from 2024. I guess the year it is currently.
The year of our Lord 2024.
AD! AD or C?
Don't get Morgan talking about BC.
It's a hot topic.
We've been talking about it a lot. So basically, I guess we should say Allie saw Gladiator 2 first in theaters.
I saw it twice.
Well, she saw it first. Jesse and I watched the first movie. Then we went again and saw Gladiator 2 with Allie. And then she just literally last night watched Gladiator.
So we have a
For the
little
first
experiment
time.
where Morgan and I watched the first one first, and then the second one. And Allie watched the second one first, and then watched the first one.
Because we wanted to, see if I would have different opinions on the second movie, having not seen the first one. And if, basically, because sequels are tough. Because
A lot of
people have a lot of opinions on them.
Yeah, a lot of people who were diehard Gladiator 1 fans didn't even want to go see the second one.
Yeah.
At all.
But they're also the people who saw it probably when it first came out.
Yeah.
So they've had 24 years.
All those dads think about the Roman Empire.
Yeah, all those
Since
dads.
2000, Russell Crowe.
That's all
Baby
they've been
bangs.
thinking about. Yeah,
They have
baby.
dreams of baby bangs, and you could only whisper it.
Wow. But yeah, we haven't talked about this at all together because
We've been
we just
trying
watched,
not to.
Yeah, we just watched the
2 a.m.
Yeah, since
And-
I just saw the first one, we didn't talk about
Yes.
my thoughts on
No, we
the
didn't.
sequel. We didn't get to discuss any of this.
And we took pretty extensive notes last night, I feel like.
Jesse's
While we
is a
were
full
watching.
page.
Half of the page.
Well, hers looks neater than mine is all cramped and
Hers is also all
weirdly
about Paul Mescal.
bracketed off. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna start by reading both of the synopsises for the movie real quick.
Synopses.
Synopses?
Synopsi.
Synopsi? I don't know. We'll figure it out. But here's the synopsis.
We're not English majors.
Here's the synopsis for Gladiator. Commodus takes power and strips rank from Maximus, one of the favored generals of his predecessor and father, Emperor Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic philosopher. Maximus is then relegated to fighting to the death in the gladiator arenas. That's it. That was kind of...
Good job. Good job.
Alright, now we got Gladiator 2. Years after witnessing the death of Maximus at the hands of his uncle, Lucius must enter the Colosseum after the powerful emperors of Rome conquer his home. With rage in his heart and the future of the empire at stake, he looks to the past to find the strength and honor needed to return the glory of Rome to its people.
Can I do my Paul Mescal impression? Strength and honor.
Giddy! A point is still a point. That Irish was slipping through.
It was.
Alright. Well, I guess where do we begin? What do we start talking about first?
Can we talk about the opening? Okay.
Yeah.
First off, the opening of Gladiator 2 made me
Yes.
want to cry.
That was beautiful.
Yeah.
And then the opening shot of the first one versus the last shot of Gladiator 2.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's.
I feel like they bookended each other.
Yeah. Well, and having seen the second one first,
Yeah.
like I didn't really. I mean, I assumed that was
Something.
that was Maximus, like his hand at the end of the movie. But like I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I just was like, oh, that's probably something really cool for people that haven't seen the first movie. But then whenever we watched the first one last night, I was like, oh, okay.
So, did you think? I don't know. Did you care watching the second one first that there were like references that you were probably missing? Like, did you still enjoy it as a movie?
Oh
separate?
yeah,
Okay.
because I feel like the beginning of the second one with the way the art or whatever the heck that
They
was,
had their little like recap
with the opening credits. Yeah, that was enough to like catch me up on basically where it left off.
Yeah.
That I felt like I could understand. But yeah, I mean, I figured there were things that I missed, but I just was like enjoying the movie.
Yeah.
So even if it wasn't, like, it could be enjoyed separately.
Yeah.
Without.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, which I would agree too. Like, if you just like pretend to forget the first movie, like, yeah, it holds up.
Yeah.
Was there something else about the end in the beginning, or?
I guess I don't know. Not really. Well, I'm just confused because I felt like you said, it was like a good bookend to like the first and second one. But there's rumors that Ridley Scott like is making a third one because people are like, it felt like the second one ended kind of being like, okay, now this is the beginning of something that we're not gonna see.
Well,
but people are like, but
I
he's
feel
gonna
like
make a third one.
that would ruin it.
Yeah, because the Gladiator movies aren't about war, like in your face war. It's like this kind of subtle theme of war because they're just fighting in the arena. They're not
like play.
The third
acting.
one would be war.
Well, yeah,
basically.
and that's like in rom-coms. Like at the end of the rom-com, the couple ends up together, and like if they get married or something, but you never see their life because that would honestly kind of ruin it if you saw like the rest of their life after they finally like got married or whatever.
Well, because honestly, later when they're having rom-coms and they do a sequel where it's like
sucks.
10 years later, they're like getting a divorce and being like depressed, and you're like,
Gilmore Girls.
What?
Yeah.
But I would actually say, I feel like with the end with it showing like Russell Crowe's hand in the grass, is that like he's waiting for Lucius? Like he hasn't like moved on yet because he's waiting for him. Because there was all that talk of like she wasn't crossing the river yet. She was waiting for Paul Mescal's wife.
Yeah.
Like she was like waiting for him, and he just felt like she was waiting for him.
Yeah.
To die, basically, to come be with her again. And was that also supposed to be like Russell Crowe's waiting for him too?
But I don't know. Or because like in the first one especially, they talk about like home all the time, and like Russell Crowe, Maximus, is like trying to go home or like, but like he knows
he does get home because
because then
he's
at
done
the
with
end
his
like
wife
there's that
in the afterlife,
and he's like, okay, he's finally home in that like dreamscape of his home.
Well, I think that's supposed to be the afterlife.
So is it like Paul Mescal, even though he's still alive, like he is kind of starting the idea of Rome, and so he feels more home, even though like he's not with his wife yet? I don't know. That doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. Wait, I have something to say about. I feel like this was kind of paralleled in both movies, but first, okay, so in the first one, when Russell Crowe, this is also the story that I wanted to tell you of the interview I saw.
Oh.
I saw an interview with Russell Crowe, and he was talking about the scene where he gets home to find his wife and son, like, dead and, like, hanging. And Ridley Scott apparently was like, when they were talking about the scene, he was like, okay, I just want you to, like, walk up there, stand, fall to your knees, and we're done.
Well, because
that's it. The light is
prosthetic feet.
Yeah,
like, there was nothing. It was just like the feet, the ankles, and then that was it. Because that's all the camera shot was gonna get.
And so he was like, the lighting is good. We just want to get this. We want to be done. Like, that's it. And Russell Crowe was like, I have to go to her. And he goes, no, you don't actually need to go to her. Like, no, it's fine. And Russell Crowe was like, I have to go to her. He goes, I've come all this way and I failed her, and I'm going to get here and I'm going to fail her again by not even going to her body. And Ridley Scott was like, no, like, the lighting is good, don't mess it up. And so Russell Crowe just did that all himself. And he said he even didn't know how, like, because he's so snotty and like crying in that scene. He said he didn't even. That was just him being in the moment of like finding his wife's body and his son's body. And so after they did it, Ridley Scott was like, okay, when we do it again, like let's do less snot this time, and it'll be good. But I felt like so like he goes to his wife's body, and then Paul Mescal at the very beginning when he goes to his wife's body in the water, like he could have just not gone to her, like and just left her in the ocean, but like he went out to her to like grab her. I don't know. I was like
carried the arrow.
Yeah.
Around or the like around.
Oh yeah, and then whenever his mom dies, he takes the arrow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I don't know why.
And then also there's the arrowhead in Gladiator. I noticed last night when he's like gonna maybe kill
Joaquin Phoenix.
What's his Commodus? When he's gonna like try to kill him just like the first time he sees him in the arena, but then Lucius runs up. He has a broken arrowhead in his hand. That's what he's gonna kill him with. And I was like, is that? Are these all little? We're probably just reading too much into it.
I don't know, but I feel like that's what Ridley Scott is all about. I haven't seen that many Ridley Scott movies. I've seen Blade Runner. I just watched Thelma.
Did you watch Alien?
I watched the second Alien because I thought it was the first one because the only difference in the title is there's an S. It's Aliens. I didn't know that. I haven't seen the first one.
Twisters.
Oh yeah. But,
do you want to say something about the music?
I mean, I feel like I said.
Did you?
I don't know. I just talked about. So Hans Zimmer did the music, and
because you were talking about John Williams in the one of the last podcasts.
Oh, well, I mentioned that whenever I watched Gladiator, the first one, it was like, is this the music of Pirates of the Caribbean? Because literally it is. And so, Pirates of the Caribbean was like 2 or 3 years after Gladiator, so he copied himself off of Gladiator, and I was kind of like, what the heck? But then, like, I feel like a lot of composers do that.
See, it's like not all the same.
Yeah.
That I feel like it's not like, I feel like I'm watching a pirate movie.
Yeah.
But would we have felt differently? Say we saw Gladiator first and then we saw Pirates, would we have gone, what's this Gladiator music?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's probably true. But then I was thinking, like, John Williams does that a lot. I mean, I don't know. I'm a huge John Williams fan. But a lot of his music does sound similar. But that's just because people hire him because they're like, I want this to sound like John Williams. Yeah. And same with Hans Zimmer.
That's true.
Because he did the Dune music.
Hans Zimmer.
Yeah. Which I feel like I feel like Gladiator is a mix of Pirates and Dune because there's a lot of like the vocalization.
Yeah, that girl singing.
I
loved that the music of that girl singing was the same at the end of both movies.
Yes.
So good. Other than that, I don't know.
Yeah. I just feel like they're both just really good, like, stories. Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, especially just, like, Gladiator, like, watching it just feels like such a good, just, like, story.
Yeah.
Like, that sounds so weird to just say that, but, like, it just does.
Yeah. Well, then, just, like, in the beginning of Gladiator 2, like, the opening credits, whenever there's, like, that painting, which I did find the artist of it, and, it's, like, watercolor, like, some type of watercolor?
Dang.
Like, all hand water.
That's cool.
I forget what the guy's name is, but what was I gonna say? Oh, the music in the beginning was, like, telling the story of the first Gladiator in the music. Like, I was, like, getting chills just from the opening credits. Like,
well, again, it felt like the whole thing of, like, when we saw Beetlejuice and the opening credits happened, and I was like, I would have been happy with just that. I kind of felt the same way with Gladiator 2. Like, I would have been happy with just this. But
was there anything about, so I'm assuming you both like the first one better?
I honestly would say I like them equally, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. That's hard.
Like, is there something about the second movie that you think is better than the first one?
I don't know that I would say it's better. Like, I thought anything was like, I was like, oh yeah, I like that I felt like maybe they showed a little bit more of like the spectacles of what Rome could put on, like especially when they flood the Colosseum. Like even though there's like contention about if that's like completely accurate, like I felt like that just showed the scale more of like what they could do, especially with
That's
like
true.
the rhinos. I saw there was a thing they did use rhinos. They didn't necessarily ride them in the Colosseum, but like there were rhinos and baboon fights, possibly. But so like, well, we'll circle back to the baboons. But if anything, I felt like it just showed.
What a wild thing to say. Let's circle back to baboons.
Wait, but I'm just saying, like, I felt like that just showed the scale of like what the Empire could put on.
Yeah.
But like, I almost liked just the understated like gladiator fights in the first one.
Mhm.
I don't know. That so sounds so weird to say.
This is like a really random thing. I think we had talked about a bit. I feel like the second one had amazing fight choreography.
Yeah.
Choreography, I can't say the word. Like the first one was good, but I think if anything, the second one in that realm was better.
Yeah.
It was so impressive to me because, okay, I think this is what I said. There's that one scene where Pedro Pascal they're putting him up against like that group of people because they want to kill him. And instead of like him going up and fighting one guy at a time,
they all fought.
And like the other guys standing around like waiting, they were like all fighting. Like he was fighting 3 guys at once. And that was like Pedro Pascal doing that choreography because there's so much footage of him and Paul Mescal like practicing their thing, and amazing.
I have something to say about Pedro Pascal.
Oh, okay.
Well,
how do you feel about Pedro Pascal anyway?
How do I feel about him?
Yeah. Like just in general.
I mean, I don't have anything against him. Okay. I just think he's overrated. Because honestly, is he that good of an actor?
You haven't seen Last of Us. You need to see that.
Guys,
brother.
I just saw a picture of Pedro Pascal when he was like probably in his 20s, and he looks like Elvis.
Okay, we're getting sidetracked here.
Sorry. Okay, circle back.
Okay, so Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
What I had to say about him. So, okay, we've already spoiled the whole movie, like, anyways. Yeah. So, yeah. So whenever Pedro Pascal dies, he gets all those arrows, like, shot into his body. Okay, I don't know, I felt like this was a little bit of foreshadowing that I didn't notice until, like, the second time I saw it with you guys. So, because at the beginning of the movie, whenever his ship gets to the land and he's running up to like go and
to climb up the bridge,
everybody, and like, but there's all these shields and like people guarding him, but it's all these arrows coming at him from every direction, but he makes it through that time. But then that ends up being how he dies.
Whoa, interesting.
So I just thought that was kind of, I don't know if they did that on purpose, but
yeah. Probably. I mean, yeah. Oh, yeah, and I wouldn't have noticed that. I can see why you would notice that the second time around, because, yeah, I didn't even think anything about that.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, we're circling back to the baboons.
Terrified.
The way I literally, like, me and Jesse, like,
were
basically
grabbed
each other.
Screaming. It was horrifying.
No, it wasn't even, like, the baboons were one thing. It was when Paul Mescal gets the one, bites its freaking arm and like takes a chunk of meat out of it,
and then was like acting like the baboon. I was so scared
to the point where the baboon starts walking away because it's like, whoa.
And the baboon was like, I don't want nothing to do with you.
Bro,
you are weird.
Let's calm
that
down.
leads into my first note.
Okay,
that leads into my first note.
Get to it. Go.
Continuity issues in the second movie. What the heck was going on? The main, most obvious issue was the baboon fight, because what the heck? He literally, Paul Mescal bites the baboon, and he's got blood all over his face, and they literally make a point of, like,
showing
his face, and being like, oh, look how disgusting. He's a freak.
He's an animal.
He's a freak.
He's a barbarian.
Yeah, barbarian.
I was like, that's weird, doesn't sound right.
But so then they literally cut to the monkey or something else, and then they cut back to Paul Mescal, and his face was completely clean. There was not anything Like, that bothered me so bad because they made it so obvious to be like, he's insane because he's lost his wife and he has nothing, and now he's a gladiator.
Nothing to lose,
so look how
basically.
wild he is. And then they cut to the final like shot of the scene, and he's looking completely fine.
Yeah.
I don't remember noticing that, but I believe you. I'm just saying I don't
me.
remember.
Can I say something? Oh, so I was watching so they do this like actors roundtable like interview once a year, and they get actors who have like had big movies throughout the year. So Paul Mescal was on this, and he was talking about Ridley Scott. Well, they were talking about theater because he's done a lot of theater, and how working with Ridley Scott felt more like working in theater, because he was like, you're working on stage, everything's like a wide shot, like the audience sees everything, there's no like close shots or whatever. But he was like, Ridley Scott kind of filmed in the same way, where so he would like pack as many cameras as he can, and so like if they were in his like prison cell, Ridley Scott would pack 5 like giant cameras in there and like a 6th one in the door. And then so whenever they were doing like the gladiator fights, he was like, there was so much time setting up everything, and there's like 12 cameras on you. All the cameras start rolling. You do the fight like from beginning to end as if like you're performing at theater. So then you're getting all these different angles. And so Paul Mescal literally brought up, he was like, so continuity kind of goes out the window at that point. But it's like, what?
My thing is, why do it that like why have like a bazillion cameras like that?
You don't trust your cameraman.
Oh, that's true. You said that, yeah.
Because you have to put trust into the people that you hire, and if that's their specialty, because Ridley Scott's specialty is not camera work.
Yeah,
his
directing.
specialty is directing. So you need to direct, which is
trust.
like overseeing these people, but your specialty is not camera work or sound design, so you need to put trust that those people know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And he doesn't do that.
Yeah. Ugh.
So Ridley Scott.
Is he, sir?
I think he is.
He's knighted?
I think he is knighted.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah, I just thought that was funny because you brought that up, and then I watched that interview and I was like, oh.
Wait, this isn't about anything continuity issue. This is just visually. I loved the shots of like, especially, I think this was also in the second one too, but like particularly in the first one when there's like the big over shots of like the Colosseum or wherever they are, and it looks like there's blood splattered everywhere, but it's the red flowers, and I just thought that was so I just like thought that was such a cool, because then when they got close up to it, it's like it's not blood, it's like these pretty flowers, but then from afar it looks so like grotesque and just
so
like,
it's basically Rome.
Yeah, it honestly
all this
is.
blood had
because
already been spilled.
Well, and like from the outside, Rome looks like this amazing empire. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
well, look at all their togas, and then it's like
what they really doing? It's
Well, and so I don't know if this is just me reading into everything, but okay, a lot of the like Colosseum scenes in the first one, Joaquin Phoenix has like black armor on and like a black cloak, but so whenever he's going to fight Maximus and like after he stabs him and then is like,
so
hide the wounds, he's wearing all white.
Yeah.
And so then whenever they like lift them up into the Colosseum, he's in all white with like all the red petals like coming down around him, because it's like basically he's already dead, like Maximus.
Yeah.
And him in a way, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I was like, he's only wearing white like in that scene.
Well, it's also probably like a pure, because like white is a color of like purity.
And it was right after he said, he was like, merciful Commodus.
Yeah, so he's like, look at me,
Am I not merciful?
Actually, no. Also, another thing about the red, in the second one, Caracalla and Geta? How do you say their names? The twin emperor guys?
Geta.
Gita. I think they say Gita.
Okay, Gita. And it's like spelled Caracalla.
Joaquin Phoenix.
No,
Joaquin. We're talking about Joseph Quinn.
No, Joseph Quinn is Gita.
Fred. What?
Fred.
Hetchinger?
We'll just call him
Fred. We'll just call him Fred.
Okay.
The boy in the window.
The one who has syphilis. But anyway,
Okay. No, in the theater, after they made that one comment in the movie about him, Morgan goes, syphilis.
but he does. Okay, for once, let me finish one second. And then
Sorry.
they always are wearing like red makeup
Yeah.
around their eyes, and it just makes it look like their eyes are bleeding, like, or like they're so, like, I just felt there was one time, especially with Joseph Quinn, like right before, probably like a scene or so before he gets killed, like he just had so much, it literally looked like his eyes were bleeding to me, and I was like, that is so like unsettling. Like, can you imagine someone just always having that on and just being like, you are pale as a freaking ghost, your hair is
He was
red.
raised by wolves.
He was not.
The twins were.
Romulus and Remus.
That's Romulus
That's
and
a-
Remus, not
Hold
them.
on.
That's like a Greek myth.
Yeah, Romulus and Remus
That's
are
like
like
how
the origin
Rome
of
started.
Rome.
Wait,
and
but
they were
Romulus.
Wait.
Rome.
taken
No,
care of by the
but
wolf.
then
That's what that statue
No.
is.
yes, that statue is. But then I could have sworn someone said that the twins in the movie were.
Well, because the twins Romulus and Remus
Are
but every
I
time
think
they
they're
referred
trying
to
to,
the
like-
twins, they were.
they're like trying to embody.
maybe. Well,
Well,
that's
then-
true because he was like
well,
basically
then-
being like, I'm
wait,
a god.
then that makes it even better though because, like, at one point Fred is laughing and he sounds like a wolf because he's got a little.
So were they like thinking they were basically like
Yes.
possessed by Romulus and Remus's like spirits, or they were like their ambassadors on Earth,
Yeah.
basically?
Well, yeah, because whenever he would do the
Yeah.
thumb thing, and it was like he was the gods, like channeling the gods. Mercy.
Yeah. Okay. Syphilis is a sexually transmitted disease that basically infects your whole body and eventually works its way to your brain and like eats away your brain.
Well, that's what they said that.
Yeah, so that's why he was going crazy, because his brain was literally being eaten away by this disease.
Oh.
Sorry.
Because yeah, Joseph Quinn was like, it's the disease, isn't it?
Honestly, they were one of my favorite parts though of Gladiator 2. Like them.
I was so sad whenever Joseph Quinn
Ugh.
got killed.
Because he was trying to keep him in check though.
He was.
Because he was
I love
Yeah.
the part whenever they find out that like Pedro Pascal was
Yeah.
gonna betray them, and he's holding him back,
Yeah.
his brother back, and he's like, "Take them away, take
He's
them
like,
away,
"Please."
like please don't kill."
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that was funny.
Yeah, and then Denzel Washington's character is so like
I know I have my
Sneaky.
issues with Denzel Washington in general,
That's
but
a hot take.
because see that's why I don't like him is because everybody talks about how amazing he is, yet I actually don't think I've seen him in anything.
I honestly saying.
And
Wait,
so I'm like,
you've seen
how
Remember
do
the
we-
Titans? He's the coach in Remember the
Dude,
Titans.
do you think I remember that movie?
No, you don't, because you blocked it out. I love that movie.
I was like 8 when you made me watch it.
I love that movie.
Wait, did you have something? Can I ask you guys a question?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. How do you think? Okay, so like everyone talks about Russell Crowe's like acting in this, how he's like the big like movie star, whatever. How do you think Paul Mescal was in comparison? Because there's like people have said a lot of stuff that I don't
Like,
know.
how are we comparing it?
Okay, just because a lot of people are saying Paul Mescal wasn't good in this role, like he wasn't as like whatever as Russell Crowe, and like he didn't give like the speeches as well.
Are you not entertained?
Yeah, but that's why Ridley Scott casted him, because Paul Mescal's only been in these small, like, heavily acting roles, like emotional acting, because that's what Paul Mescal's interested in, is like
Yeah.
the art of acting. So some people just don't get that. But I didn't know what you guys thought.
I feel that I don't feel like you can compare their acting performances because both movies had a very different vibe to me.
Yeah.
Because the first Gladiator, it felt, I don't want to say more serious, but just also the tone of the movie and the filter over the movie was much darker
Mm-hmm.
than this one. And I feel like it was this, well, the first one was like, I don't know, it was almost like a war movie type vibe. But then the second one, they knew this was going to be a blockbuster movie.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that was the difference. So I feel like Russell Crowe, I would say Russell Crowe, like his performance in the first one would have been Oscar worthy. And then Paul Mescal's performance, I would not say was Oscar worthy just because of how the movie itself was. Not because he was bad, but just because the standards of that movie.
There wasn't as many opportunities for him to like really act.
Like,
Because the second one
acting.
is a lot shorter than the first one.
Is
How
it?
long is the second one?
The second one was only like 2 hours, I think, and the third one, or the first one was
But
like
that is
3 hours.
true.
Yeah, I
Like
think
now,
I
whenever
have it.
they're making a blockbuster, they throw in all of the like the stuff you
Yeah.
expect to be in a blockbuster.
They're actually both 2.5 hours long.
Really? The first
Yeah.
one felt
It's
so much
over.
longer.
It does have a slower pace, I feel like, though.
Which,
Like, I know what you mean. Wait, but can I say
yeah,
something?
you do that, and then I have another point.
When you said that Russell Crowe deserved an Oscar for that, the Gladiator, won 5 Oscars. It was nominated for 12 in total, but it won 5 of them. Best Picture, Best Actor, Russell Crowe, Best Visual Effects, Best Sound, and Best Costume Design.
Dang,
Ooh.
okay.
And Joaquin Phoenix was nominated for Best supporting actor, but he did not win.
Good.
But anyway, so Russell Crowe did win.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, but can I say one other thing that sort of relates to this?
Yeah.
Gladiator 2. Okay, this makes sense if they're both the same amount of time, but I would say, and I didn't know if this was because I watched the second one first,
Mhm.
and I just felt this way because of that, but I could see myself watching the second one more often, not because I liked it better, but because I feel like I was more entertained. And yeah, but like the second one, there was literally like not that much dialogue, and I
Your little
loved it.
smiley. She has her nose.
I
She
loved
says,
it.
"Not much dialogue." Smiley
There
face.
is more like action.
So yeah, and I felt like I had to really pay attention during the first one because it felt like they were saying so many important things, but I couldn't understand what they were saying. But in the second one, I could zone out for a minute and it wouldn't matter because they weren't saying anything important. They really weren't saying anything at all.
Huh.
I think that's how blockbusters have changed over 20 years. you
Well,
know?
that's honestly interesting because I almost feel differently
Really?
about that. Actually,
That's-
I feel like maybe dialogue. I don't know, but like to me, there was more, and I don't know how best to describe it. But all I can think to say is like I feel like there was more politics in the second one, actually, and like talking about politics and like all of the like the Senate and then who's gonna be in charge if this person's in charge and like I don't know, I feel like there was a lot more of like that talking in it. So to me it felt like there was more talking in the second one actually than the first one. Because the first one to me was just like yes, there was talking, but like it was mostly just like Joaquin Phoenix kind of rambling about crazy stuff. Like I don't know. But maybe that's just that just might be me and how I watched it. Like I don't know.
I don't
Interesting.
know. I'm torn.
Maybe there's equal amount of dialogue. I don't know. But that also the second one with you saying it was more like entertaining, like that kind of goes along with how I said there was more like the spectacle of Rome in it. I feel like because it's entertaining to watch, even though it's so messed up. But that's the point.
I feel like Jesse needs to talk about
Male
Yes.
body standards.
yes.
Okay.
That
You need
was
to
such
let
a
her have
random
her moment.
segue.
I'm sorry, I'm waiting for
Okay,
this.
this is my notes on it. I'm not gonna. Okay, I can talk about this for a long time.
Okay, well, limits.
It's gonna be
Don't go
limited.
on.
Okay,
and on.
this is a short version because I think both of you have heard this before. But okay, so I don't know why. Oh, I guess I became interested in this topic.
No, that sounds so bad. No, I became
aware because like nobody talks about. It's only recently been talked about like the female like body standards and whatever in movies, but only recently I've been hearing stuff about like the male actor body standards, like especially because of superhero movies and stuff,
because
Hugh
this is
Jackman
what
talks about it a lot.
and that's what I was gonna say. That's how I became aware. Not interested, aware. Because of our Hugh Jackman face a couple months ago. And he's talked about this in interviews recently. Okay, this freaks me out actually, and I have a picture. Have you guys seen the picture of him from the first movie that he played Wolverine in versus like one of the last ones? Okay, he looks like a normal human being, and that does not look real. Okay, so
In he's like a 60-year-old man in the
well,
last one.
so he said in an interview, like the first Wolverine movie he was in, he like showed up to set and they were like, "What the heck is this?" Because he started working out for this movie like a week before.
Oh!
And he was like, "What?" And they were like, we have to push all of your shirtless scenes to
What?
the end of the shoot now because you have to like be working out." And he was like, "What? Okay." But even then, like, he looks more normal in the first
Yeah.
movie versus now. He has talked about the fitness routine and like the diet that he had to do Deadpool and Wolverine this year.
Yeah.
It was insane. And now, okay, this is talking about like interviewers now, where all they ask male actors are, "What was your diet like?" "Well, man, you were ripped."
How much did you have to work out?
Yeah. And so, of course, Hugh Jackman has to talk about this ad nauseum in every interview he's in. And
Ad nauseum, wow.
It's pretty bad when Morgan makes fun of something.
Yeah.
I had to take my moment.
So he talked about like all the food he's had to eat, and he works out so many hours a day. And then this is horrifying, actually. And Chris Hemsworth, Jason Momoa, and what's his name? Henry Cavill have talked about this dehydration. So they tell these actors, "This is the date that you're doing a shirtless scene. Like, this is the big shirtless scene.
Dear God.
And you have to start prepping for this like 3 months in advance. This one scene. This is the end. This is what you have to look like. Do it." And then they give them like this huge team of people to like make you look like this. And it's awful. But then like a couple days before the shoot, you have to like drink like 3 gallons of water each day. So you're like just drinking. And then 36 hours before the scene, you don't drink at all. You like, so then all of that water that you were drinking like sustains you. So then you're just like peeing all the time. So then by the time of the shoot, you're just dehydrated. So your muscles are like more defined or whatever because you don't have any water weight. But then you're like lightheaded and dizzy and like just no water at all. And so,
Bro, count me out. I'd be done.
Like, it's actually so dangerous. Like, for your liver? Like,
Well, just,
and
yeah.
also, Hugh Jackman is like, yeah, I think he just turned 60 or something.
She's somewhere.
And he just does not look natural. But, okay, this brings me back. Gladiator 2. Everyone has said this about Paul Mescal a lot, and it's so annoying. They're like, "Oh, he has like a dad bod. He's not very like fit." But he is like, I mean, he did
I say he's fit.
Gaelic football, and like he's very athletic and whatever. But
Just not in the
because he's not-
traditional what you
Yeah.
would think.
like this new standard that is literally not sustainable. Like, you cannot look like that for a long time. And so Paul Mescal has talked in interviews because now people are asking him, "Wow, you look great in this movie." But honestly, he looks like how Hugh Jackman looked in 2000 when he was Wolverine first. Like, a normal... Okay,
Like, body,
So-
yeah.
Paul Mescal in an interview said that he wanted to look like big and strong, basically. And so his training, he was like, honestly, my training was not that bad. And
I saw an interview
Yeah.
that where they were like, how many? And he was like, literally
He's like,
1 hour a day.
Yeah. He was like, I worked out like 50 minutes to an hour each day, like 5 days a week.
Yeah.
He ate literally whatever he wanted because he was like, in the Roman times, they just that was, you needed to survive.
They would have wanted body weight.
Yeah.
Because
So you ate as whenever you could, and when he didn't,
And they didn't have protein shakes.
Yeah.
in Rome.
and he said a lot of his workout was just training for fights, so he could look like how a gladiator would look.
well, there you go.
Imagine that.
So like he looks so much more natural in this movie. Like he's not
ripped, but
Yeah.
he looks strong.
But I honestly noticed that, like, watching it, like, there was one, I feel like there was certain times where they would show him, like, a certain way, and you were just like, he is strong.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't, like, anything like, oh, like, but it was just, like, you could tell, like, he was strong, and he looked
Yeah.
imposing.
I wrote this because I knew Jesse was gonna bring this up, so I wrote this down because I talked to you about this before. But I said it was good that Paul Mescal just looks like a dude because it made the fact that he's an impressive gladiator so much more interesting.
Mhm.
And there was that one scene where I literally thought that he kind of looked like he had a dad bod, and it was just he was just a person.
Just because it was like a positive thing to look like you were well fed. Like that was like you're rich if you look like you're well fed.
Well, can I say something also kind of about that, but like with Roman stuff?
Mhm.
That's everyone talks about, particularly like the one statue of Aphrodite or Venus. I can't remember if it's Aphrodite or Venus. Like, I mean, it's the same, but I can't remember if it's Roman or Greek. But basically, she has like a little belly showing. Like, she has, her arms are bigger, her thighs are bigger, and everyone's like, that was the standard of beauty in the day. Like, and that's what probably most women look like typically. Like, that, like, you have extra weight on your hands, on your stomach, on your, like, whatever, but like that was the standard. Because if you were skinny, you were probably dying. So like, you were well fed. Like,
but I feel like Gladiator 2 like talked a lot about like after the fights, like the recovery of the gladiators and how like tolling it was on their bodies to like be fighting to the death every single day. And infection. There was so much talk about infection, and like especially because Paul Mescal was like, why the heck do I need that dude that was like
the doctor guy?
Yeah, he was like, what are you doing? He's like, no dude, infection's no joke.
Well,
You guys don't care about
that
it,
guy
you should.
literally said more people die outside of the Colosseum
because of that.
because of infections from wounds in the Colosseum.
But so I just applaud Paul Mescal for, I don't know, he actually thought about it. And then he does say, he was like, this is a very first world problem. Because I had somebody training me, and I had people telling me what to eat. Like, so he was like, it wasn't just him. Like, it might have not been achievable if it was just him. Because he was like, I'm too lazy to do that.
Wait,
I would be
Sorry, go ahead.
I'd be curious to see, like, the difference from what Paul Mescal's training or lack of training was compared to Russell Crowe's.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Because also, he doesn't look, I wouldn't say Russell
he's
Crowe
just like a
ever
normal
looks
dude.
like completely like, you're like, oh.
People say Hugh Jackman has the Hawaiian roll abs.
Ew.
Like with you, that's not.
I don't like
that's
that.
not natural.
Why did you say that?
That's
I hate
disgusting.
that.
Wait.
Ew, it's not good. Like,
No,
Wait.
no, that's disgusting.
Wait, I want to say something about people like working out for movies or whatever. I saw a clip of an interview with Josh O'Connor, and he was talking about the training he did for Challengers. This is surreal. But
You mean that scrawny little
No,
ass?
yeah, but
What?
basically he was like, they told him to do all this workout and stuff, and he would just not do it. They tell him to go do however many push-ups, and he'd do like 2, and then when they weren't looking, he would just stop. When they looked back, he'd do a few more to be like, oh look, I'm doing it. But he was like, I don't want to work out. I don't work out.
Well, and also tennis players,
Well,
like, it's not like his role was.
Well, I know, but I just thought that was funny where he was like, I don't want to work out. Like, what am I doing
That
here?
is so funny. But yeah, now it's even, if you're in a movie about tennis, you have to look ripped, or
Well,
else people are going to be like,
Well, yeah, tennis players are strong, but I wouldn't say all of them probably go to the gym all the time.
Well, yeah.
But, okay, so I mean, none of us really care for Jason Momoa that much. But, okay, so whenever he played Aquaman, so this is whenever he was talking about, like, the dehydration stuff, because he did that for Aquaman, and people, like, praised him for how he looked in Aquaman. Like, a couple months afterward, he's, like, on vacation or whatever, there's paparazzi pictures of him, and he just looked, honestly, he looked like how Paul Mescal looked in this, or like Hugh Jackman in the early 2000s, like normal, but like still fit, and people were calling him like fat, and wow, he really let himself go, and it's awful. But if you said that about women,
Well, yeah, everybody just needs to mind their own business.
Yeah.
Who cares what anybody looks
in
like?
the first place.
What the heck? People are annoying.
sorry, I just
No, you're fine.
I
No,
think
you were
that's very
fine. No, it
interesting.
is. No, yeah. Ugh. I'm shifting gears a little bit.
Yes, please.
Did we all have an interesting fact that we looked up about Rome?
Mine
Yes.
can't be said on the pod.
Oh, okay. Allie's is not for for everyone. Jesse?
But you can go first because I just talked a lot.
Well, basically when I looked up some, these ones were kind of just funny to me. I looked up, but then I also have one about the actual twins, because they're based on real emperors.
Wait, really?
But they're not actually twins. But they
Really?
were brothers, but they're loosely based on like actual emperors, but like very different. But I will read that to you. But
Ooh.
first, let me read you
Tea.
this was a gross, some interesting facts
Oh
about
gosh, I'm so scared. At least say your fact.
Apparently, when they said toilets would regularly explode because of the methane buildup in all of these public toilets.
They were cooking meth.
No. If someone
Walter
lit,
White was in Rome.
if someone lit
Wait
a candle or incense or something near one of these like toilets, they would explode.
Merry Christmas.
Literally.
Can I say that on the pod?
Also, apparently, gladiator blood was used as medicine.
This is my fact.
Oh, I won't say any more about it then.
Okay.
You can tell me.
Sorry,
Wait,
I
did you also have the dead skin cells?
No, I just had the gladiator one.
Women would rub the dead skin cells of gladiators on their faces as
Ew.
like a medicine also.
Good thought. Exfoliating
Gross.
gladiator scrub.
Okay, so basically the emperors, Gita and Caracalla, however you say their names, so they were not twins actually. They were brothers, but they weren't twins. And they ruled at the same time, but apparently they like hated each other so much. Like they could never ever be, because also they were afraid the other was going to assassinate the other all the time.
Oh.
And that's yeah. They only met in the presence of their mother and with a strong military guard, being in constant fear of assassination. So they like were terrible rulers because they were so afraid of each other all the time. They like did nothing basically. And so then Caracalla tried unsuccessfully to murder Gita during the festival of Saturnalia, which that is an interesting festival. It's basically where all the slaves are treated like the masters. It's
Whoa.
opposite day.
It's opposite day.
So he tried to murder Gita then, but it didn't work. The next week, Caracalla had his mother arrange a peace meeting with his brother in his mother's apartments, thus depriving Gita of his bodyguards, and then had him murdered in her arms by centurions. And then supposedly this is not completely clear because also obviously we know about Gita, but Caracalla apparently ordered the damnatio memoria, which was damnation of memory, which was to basically cut Gita out of history forever, so no one would ever know about him and erase him from history. But it obviously didn't work because
Erased.
we know about him.
Dang.
But basically, yeah. But so I was like, oh, did Caracalla, like, was he crazy? Doesn't sound like he was like actually crazy, like had that problem that Fred had in the movie. But yeah. And nothing about him making a monkey his consort. Was it his consort he made him? That was actually hilarious. I liked that.
I thought
a
it was
lot.
so funny that he made the monkey his first
Yeah.
consort, and
Yeah.
then Denzel Washington was the second.
Yeah. But then also, wait, the guy who, Denzel Washington, that guy is based on a real guy too, who basically took over after
Whoa.
Caracalla died.
That's
Which was like, at least that's what I thought I read somewhere. And I
Ridley
was
Scott
like,
had that.
oh, so that was actually like, what?
Ridley Scott was Googling.
Yeah. So and again, I don't know how true all of this is because there's obviously different things, but
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's true. I don't have anything to contradict that.
okay.
Okay, can I set the scene for my fact?
Oh gosh.
Okay, you're in the Roman Empire.
Yep.
You have epileptic seizures. You go to your local apothecary. What do you think is the one thing that will heal your epilepsy? Gladiator blood.
Did they?
They drank it. And then they have the audacity to think that all these barbarians and Christians were cannibals?
Yeah.
They thought everyone else besides them was cannibals, and yet they were over here rubbing dead skin cells.
And drinking
Ugh.
blood. Yeah, that's.
That just was wild. But who came up with that? I got epilepsy. I'm gonna drink some gladiator blood.
I don't know. They must have thought.
Oh.
Well, because I don't know. That's messed up. I don't even know what to say. Did you know also the first movie is based on a book from
What?
1958 called Those About to Die? I don't know if it's
Didn't
any
know
good
that.
or not, but yeah, thought that was interesting. Is there anything else from either movie or about Rome or?
Wait, what was your letterbox review for the second one?
Oh,
It was funny.
Oh, I guess which one did you like better, Allie?
Oh yeah.
We never asked you.
I don't know if I.
Or you like them equally?
Yeah, because and I like them. I feel like I like them both for different reasons. So
Yeah.
that's why I can't pick a favorite.
Yeah.
Because if I'm going off of what I think is objectively the better movie, I would say the first one. But if I'm going off of what I probably enjoyed more, I would say the second one.
So pretty equal then.
Yeah.
Which I felt the same way.
Yeah, probably. Also, I don't know. I feel like I was biased toward the second one. Like I watched the first one, so I could watch the second one.
Oh,
You know?
That's true.
'Cause I just love Let's Go, guys.
Well, and also when we were watching the first one last night, so basically whenever you're watching a sequel and you see all the cheesy little
Like nods.
things that they added in to bring you back to the first one, I feel like watching the first one, I was treating it like a sequel, so I kept being like, oh, they did that in the second one. Oh, they did that in the second one. And so it was almost like I was
like mad at the first one?
at the first one, even though that's the original. And I knew that was the original.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
just
funny.
It just was
watching
weird.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't realize watching the second one. I think there had been enough time between the first one and the second one that I didn't realize all of the things that they kind of copied from the first one. But and then watching the first one last night, I was like, oh yeah,
There's a lot of I almost feel like there's a lot of like parallels to it.
There's a lot.
But I thought they did good. And
Oh,
for
yeah.
a sequel, 24 years later, I thought it was amazing.
Yeah, it was very good.
Because it respected the first movie without completely
Yes.
copying it.
Yeah.
But so my review of Gladiator 2 was, he's not just a gladiator, he's a poet. Because that's literally the only line Paul Mescal had, was basically that poem.
That is true.
That boy didn't really
He
talk.
barely had any lines.
You said that.
A point is still a point.
I think I gave both of them 5 stars
I did too.
on Letterboxd.
I did not.
You didn't give them 5 stars?
Nope.
The,
Oh.
4? 4.5?
I think I gave the second one 4. I think I gave them both the same rating. Or if I didn't, I'm gonna
Make
change
sure you
it
do.
because yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I just also, this is also just me because, like, watching it, I was thinking so much about the Hunger Games too, and like I knew that Susan Collins like basically is no,
Because
the
the
Hunger
season
Games.
of Allie was just holding a finger gun to her head.
No, I'm just saying, like, I knew, like, the Hunger Games, she writes that basically as if it was Roman society.
Yeah.
Because it is, and she's, like, basically pointing that out in our own society, too. But I just was so, like, aware of it. Like, I was like, oh, like, she does such a good job, like, watching that movie, even though it's not 100% accurate. But, like, she does such a good job of, like, putting that in.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. Allie doesn't like when I talk about the Hunger Games.
I didn't say that.
Morgan will have her own episode
Where
where she
it's
talks
just-
about the Hunger Games.
It's just
for
me by myself.
5 hours.
No, Morgan.
Actually, I could do that.
Every episode is gonna have her own little segment of where she connects whatever movie we're talking about somehow to Hunger Games.
That would actually be really funny.
It's like that game where it's like they give you a person and another person, and you have to like.
7 degrees.
Yeah, something like that.
degrees.
Wait, who are we so many degrees away from?
Oh, so many people.
Oh,
Jeremy
Stiller.
Renner.
Jeremy Renner. Well, we don't know about Ben Stiller.
Jeremy Renner, though.
Jeremy Renner, we are a few degrees away from.
There was somebody
We're a
else.
couple degrees away from
Boston Rob.
Wait,
From Survivor, we're a few degrees
We're
away
a
from
couple
him.
degrees away from the girl in Twilight. Or at least I am. The one girl. Rosalind.
oh, interesting.
Rosalind.
Oh, because you're professor.
My professor's brother dated her.
That's
Yeah. Wow. If only we could meet these people, but we can't.
Nope.
Oh, actually, Jesse never would want to meet anybody, so.
My nightmare.
Alright. Do any final thoughts on anything that any notes you didn't get to say?
No, I loved it.
No. Say, I really enjoyed both of them
Yeah.
a lot. Don't have any complaints.
Looking forward to a complete unknown in
That-
Christmas Day.
Oh yeah, that'll be our next one. Ooh. Is that gonna be?
My team knows what I like.
Okay. Well, that'll probably be our next episode then,
How does it feel
and it will just be Allie
to
singing
be
the whole
on
time.
your own?
Bob Dylan and Timothy Chalamet.
Maybe I'll pull out the Bob Dylan impression.
Oh, is she
No,
gonna open up
We'll have
the?
Dad do his Bob Dylan impression.
Yeah.
No, we have to make Dad go see the movie so he can be on the episode with us because he's a Bob Dylan hater. So we'll get all points of view.
This would be interesting.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
have Bob Dylan. Bob
He was-
Dylan was
He
your
was my second
artist
top artist.
on Spotify,
Yep.
and
Love
She was
him.
happy because she has proof that she liked him before everyone else.
Yeah, I've been a fan. Okay. It's not just because of Timothy Chalamet.
did. That helps.
but yeah, Dad is an open hater.
Unless it's like one Bob Dylan song or the Traveling Wilburys.
That's true. Dad did say to me the other day.
Wait, he was in the Traveling Wilburys?
Yeah. Dad did say to me that he likes some of Bob Dylan's first,
Before he got
songs.
bronchitis.
Yeah, and then Dad said he just becomes great. Like Dad's impression of it.
Okay. Well, we'll at least have Dad on to do the
Okay,
impression.
but my thing is,
We'll get a
and
recording
we can
of
talk
it.
about this more, but to me, Bob Dylan is no whinier than Tom Petty. Like, they both have the same kind
They have
of
a similar,
pitch.
yeah, like
Alright.
tone,
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, you guys are gonna have to educate me on Bob Dylan then for
I honestly don't.
I love Bob Dylan!
Okay, well, Allie, that's your assignment.
Okay.
Is to get
What you want to know?
materials prepared to educate us for the complete
the
unknown.
highlights of Bob Dylan's life.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we'll see the movie, and you can tell us if it was accurate or not.
Because I'm curious.
And
Because
just
the movie's
educate
only
me.
4-5 years of Bob Dylan's
Yeah.
life. Like
Oh,
it's a
interesting.
very
Yeah.
set
Okay.
timeline.
All right. Well, that will be. Hopefully, we can record that after we see it. Then, because we're all on. People
We're
are on
all
Christmas break,
together.
and we're together. So that will be our next episode. Allie will give us
I
a little
cannot
history
wait.
lesson.
Oh, there's chocolate.
Jesse, did you want to sing Les Mis? Do you want to sing Les Mis to
Oh, to
Get us
wrap
out.
us up.
who's gonna be my Hugh Jackman?
When are you singing?
Wait, yeah,
first?
what are you singing?
Wait, no. My name is Javed. Do not forget my name. Do not forget me. 2461.
That was amazing. And I don't want to hear any crap about Russell Crowe's singing abilities. I
No.
think that man can sing.
They just say
That
he
man
can't.
can sing.
They just say he can't act and sing at the same time.
Which fair.
Okay,
That would
That's
be difficult.
they're not
then
saying
why
he's
are we
not a
letting
bad
Lin-Manuel
singer.
Miranda run rampant?
Okay, facts.
That man can't sing or act.
Well, he's been in hiding. He wouldn't even do Moana 2.
Respect. He was too busy doing.
Mufasa.
Because he thinks he's Elton John.
He was just rewriting Elton John songs. I feel like
From
because the
Mufasa?
only songs in the trailer is like the Circle of Life.
He had to give it a
It's
little
like okay,
rap
okay, down.
pop.
Are
I
there
don't know.
raps?
I don't know. I haven't seen it. Hasn't come out yet.
Anyways,
I don't plan on seeing it.
that's shocking.
I'm not gonna see it. Hey, I still have not seen the new Little Mermaid because you told me I wasn't allowed to. So
think she's lying. About
I am not
that.
lying. I will. I promise you. I've
I mean,
not
we
seen
haven't
it.
been home for,
I
there's
promise
a
you.
lot of time that we're not home. So
Cross
she
my heart.
could-
I've not.
Whoa.
Why'd you look appalled at me?
Allie, barely crossing your heart is very like that is
Bad. Wait,
that is
what?
like
For real?
I don't know to Allie apparently.
Oh,
yeah,
she
you
looks
don't do
horrified.
that.
Okay. Anyway, before we start fighting, no. Okay. Well, till next time. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Madame Javed.